Hey everyone, I thought I would do something a little different. I started thinking about this when I was writing my article about van life versus yacht life, and I kind of was digging through my footage and thinking, gosh, I wish I had filmed more and documented it a little differently. At the time, I wasn't really kind of thinking about that as such for this kind of like medium, but I was sharing on Instagram with friends and family that were really eager to see this sort of process come together and yeah, and watch that journey. So I have put together a little sort of maybe 2 or 3 part series, a little mini series about the van build, and yeah, sit back and enjoy this journey with me. So I guess I'm a pretty tactile person. I really love to create using different mediums, whether that is fabric or in this case wood and some fabric. Um, yeah, I've got a really vivid imagination and a really clear mind's eye, so I can visualize something, and I'm able to create it, just kind of like even with a rough sketch, just a little sketch and then bring it to life. And I absolutely love that challenge. I find it extremely fulfilling. Um, yeah, it's almost like a puzzle, like you have this puzzle that you've created in your head, and then you have to try and work out how the puzzle goes together. And when you get the puzzle together and you haven't cocked it up, like that's such a win. Like it's um such a satisfying achievement. So I've dabbled in the odd building project. An ex and I got a factory space which we converted into a living space. It had some basic walls in there. We ripped down a whole bunch and then reformatted it, and built everything from scratch pretty much. We built the entire bathroom and all its cabinets from scratch. We built the kitchen completely from scratch, and then a whole bunch of cabinetry for the bedrooms. And yeah, that was a really cool project. We cut out spaces for windows and installed them. It was about maybe like 3 story high or something. It was pretty high and very very nerve-wracking, but managed to do that successfully. And yeah, just kind of helped my dad out and stuff. Being the oldest of 3 girls, I was always the helper. And just loved getting into stuff, helped mates on their cars and just kind of watch and learn and just absorb. And yeah, I don't know, I like getting my hands dirty. I'm probably a bit of a tomboy, but yeah, I just like to get into things. However, the van was a bit of a block at the beginning. I really struggled to kind of start it. I'm not really sure why, because I'd wanted it for so long, and I was just kind of, I don't know, like we were in lockdown at the time, so yeah, there'd just been a lot going on, and for some reason I just had this kind of block around it. I could see what I wanted, but I just kind of was a little stuck. And a friend of mine just said, just start, like just start it. And so I did start it. And yeah, so during New Zealand's first lockdown, I found myself out of a job. I just was fed up with everything. I really needed some space, and I just felt like my wings had been clipped, and I was really struggling with being stuck, not being allowed to go somewhere. So I decided that once lockdown had lifted, I would shift full time into my van and just take to the road, exploring the country at my own pace, and just, yeah, seeing where the road took me. This is my van. She's a 2010 Toyota Hiace 4x4. I bought her in Queenstown and went to visit her for the first time with a friend and took her for a burn and just fell in love. I was just like, this is mine. Like, just literally, it was love at first sight. And I had to have her. Ended up wrangling the guy down from about 25, I think. I remember seeing her on Trade Me a few months prior, and I think even she might have been on for more, maybe like 28 or something. Turned out that I knew a guy who knew him as well, and yeah, I ended up just getting her for like 20 grand, which was epic. I was just like, I had another van previously, a Hiace Jumbo, and I literally just did like a dead swap, monetary wise. So I was stoked, absolutely stoked. My van's previous owner was a builder, so he had a section completely built out in the back where he would store his tools and things. He would have his drop saws and stuff on the back. So I already had like a bit of a structure in the back built up. It was pretty rough because clearly, you know, it had been used as a work vehicle. But it was fun for me to have, just to be able to throw a mattress in as well straight off the bat and just camp out and just really kind of get a feel for how I wanted to use the space. I promptly got to cutting down the platform to the size of a mattress. I really wanted to get a feel for my space, so I would just use it like this for quite a while. I was able just to throw my bikes in the back, throw a mattress in the back, and head away for a bit of like just freedom camping. I was living in Queenstown at the time and going over to the coast quite a bit, over to the east coast, and yeah, just really wanted to get a really good feel on how I wanted to use the space and create my little nest in it. Being that she had been a trader to dissect her and cut down the platform, I came across many treasures, which is always fun. In February 2020, I decided to shift from Queenstown back over to the coast, so I was staying in Dunedin. And I'd only been there a couple of months, really, I think, before we got thrown into lockdown. So I've been doing some rad missions and just going out freedom camping and stuff and surfing and riding my bikes and just, living basically. And yeah, got that spanner thrown in the works. So that was really hard for me, mentally, just being basically, trapped, suffocated. I was in a pretty bad relationship, and I made the shift during our highest level of lockdown to my sister's. And there I just basically focused really deeply on myself. I was religiously doing yoga like a couple of times a day, just really getting deep into that. I was just really looking after myself, lots of self-love, lots of nice baths, lots of playing with my niece. I started sewing and creating caps, and that's when I really honed in on, right, once these levels lift and I'm able to buy some supplies, I'm doing this build. Solidified my decision. I was out of a job. I was just fed up, absolutely fed up, and needing some freedom. And it was time. It was really time to start this project. I could really feel that I was very ready, so that's what I did. Okay, I'm just gonna jump in here for a minute and say this is where I am like, I should have filmed more and spoken more about the process of what I was doing. I've had fun searching through this footage, but there's definitely faces that I'm like, man, I wish I'd filmed that, you know? Because there were lots of wins along the way. It was really cool. And yeah, but it's been fun patching it together. And if you've got any questions, pop them below and I will do my best to answer them. This build was done in 2020, so yeah, like, you know, next year it'll be 5 years. Gosh, that seems like so long ago. Time flies. But anyway, sit back and enjoy, and you'll probably see my face again. The first thing I got to do was cleaning out the van, removing the structure that had been in there that I had been using as my bed structure, getting that out, and then using that as kind of a template in terms of measurements for the rebuild of the new one. The old one was in a pretty bad state, and I also needed to change up the way that it was being used for storage, seeming as I was going to be carrying a lot more stuff. I took my sewing machines, I had a couple of bikes, clothing for all weather because you need that in New Zealand. I had my surfboard, wetsuit, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, and then all my riding gear as well on top of that, and yeah, basically my life. So I needed to figure out a way that I could store all the things I needed to, using as much space as I could. Doing the bed was really easy, like that was you know, super easy, so I got that done pretty quickly, and then moved on to the units in the back for the kitchen. Most vans are built here in New Zealand anyway with the bed at the back, and I really wanted to have a bit more privacy in terms of when I was backed up to places as well, you know, and having my cooking and stuff out the back and just being able to climb straight in. Felt like it was cozier and safer being in the kind of front of the van, or the middle, should I say, in terms of sleeping. The units in the back for my kitchen were a really organic process. I had an idea of what I wanted, but I just kind of messed around with layout and stuff of yeah, my sink, my cooker, and just played. I just had a little play and went from there, and it just naturally came together. Another busy day here, building the cabinetry for the van. Pretty stoked so far though. Kind of gotta change this around a little bit, but yeah, that's pretty much what it'll look like. And this is the other cabinet, which I dissected and changed. I had a bit of an epiphany at about 1:30 this morning. Jumped out of bed and did some drawings. Yeah, so anyway, this one's pretty cool. So this here has got a bit of a compartment in the back here, which will be cut out around the bench, but basically how it'll work is this part of the bench above the cooker will hinge up, and there's the cooker in there. I'm gonna cut this bit down a little bit as well, just to hide the cooker a little bit. Made a little door, which I'm super stoked about. So pretty. And this drawer here, which is pretty cool, learned how to put freaking runners in, so it's pretty rad. That pulls out like that, and that opens up. Push that back in. I've got some little clips to go on the side there so it doesn't fall out when I'm driving, but I'm going to cut a little vent hole in the side there as well. And yeah, this one here I dissected, was part of my plan, so I shifted the water from the other side. I'll tidy all this up tomorrow and sink the sink and put in the pump,
what is it called? Spout thing. Yeah, picked this up from an op shop, which is pretty sick. And yeah, pretty stoked so far. It's gonna kind of tidy up some edges, maybe like run the router along here and just kind of soften that sharp edge, because that potentially might mess with my OCD. But yeah, pretty stoked so far. Hopefully tomorrow will be a big finishing off day and get it in the van. Yay! Stoked.
My routine during this time was pretty much wake up, practice, have breakfast, get to the shed, and I was probably in the shed by 7:30, 8 o'clock every day. And yeah, it was just so much fun seeing them come together. It was such a buzz, and just fine detailing, like getting the latches on for the fridge, some little pull tags, just fitting it in the van and just checking on how things were working. I was fully stoked. I was so psyched, and just pumped to just keep driving forward with it. Then just working on getting the vent cut for the fridge, which was awesome. So once I was happy with the cooker side of the unit, I moved on and focused on the sink side.
This one was a whole lot easier, I guess, because I'd already done one side, and the other one was a bit more techy than this one was going to be. So yeah, I just got to cutting out the sink and installing that. Hey people, another update at the van kitchen. Not much has changed really on that guy, but got those drawers in and have the sink in. Wasn't actually as hard as I thought that was going to be. I think I'm a bit of a pro on the old jiggy. Pretty sick. So that's exciting. Yay! Sink. Pretty cool. So yeah, now to cut the tap bit out. Wish me luck. Cheers! There's always something daunting about drilling a hole in something that is pretty much near finished. It's quite nerve-wracking, but I got pretty good at it, and it worked out fine. Tap in. I'll try it out with some water tomorrow. Yay! So after my hard day in the shed, I would often relax in the bath and just take in what I'd done. I would try not to think too much about what I still had to do. I just was really taking that time just to look after myself and just kind of reflect on what I was doing. It was a really emotional time for me, and I was really enjoying this process, and I was really feeling very proud of what I was achieving each day. So yeah, that was a really neat experience. Thanks so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this first part of this little mini series. The next one will be out next week, and I might perhaps do a little recap adventure film or something. I've probably got quite a lot of footage stacked away, but I'll see how this goes and just testing the waters. But I've really enjoyed digging through the footage and putting this together. It's been challenging to do, but I love a challenge, and it's really brought up quite a lot of emotion for me. It was a really hard time, and there was a lot going on, and I think that we often forget how much we've achieved, and I also think that we forget how capable we really are of things. I know that if I really want something, I can make it happen, and doing this and rewatching this really has deepened that for me. So yeah, I hope that you guys have enjoyed this, and I look forward to taking you on some adventures. also really makes me want to do another van build. I'd love to also do a yacht refit as well. That's always been something that's been on my mind, to just, yeah, do a really cool refit on a yacht is really high on my wish list as well. So yeah, if you enjoy this content and you want to see more, you want to come along my adventures, then don't forget to subscribe and, yeah, follow the journey. Thanks so much for being here.